Guys, the games industry needs a stronger games media, and you guys are going to want to watch this because I have strong opinions on this. So let's jump into that. But before we do that, chat, make sure to say hi to YouTube. We got to make sure that the YouTube folks are happy too, because we want you YouTube rascals in this stream. Okay? We're a team. The greatest gaming community in the world. This week, IGN Entertainment acquired Rock Paper Shotgun, Eurogamer, GamesIndustry.biz, VG247, and Dicebreaker through its purchase of the Gamer Network. Not to be confused with the site The Gamer, which is owned by Valnet. My God. Great names, guys. Great names. Honestly, that's kind of insane that IGN's just buying everyone. It's a little scary. The purchase resulted in redundancies across the sites, with longtime staffers being let go in consolidation. I mean, this is just what happens. You saw it with Microsoft. Any big corporation, this is why I thought it was really funny when people were like, yo, Microsoft needs to buy Activision. This really needs to happen. It's like, you guys realize there's a lot of jobs that are duplicates, and they're just going to let those people go. They don't need 2 people in marketing. They don't need 2 people in PR. They don't need 2 people in HR, like human resources. Office admin, you don't need 17. So that's what happens, unfortunately. But from a business point of view, I mean, like, you can't really fault them. They don't need like 17 office admins and 17 billion HR people. Maybe they need all the devs, but those other things where you don't really need it, it's tough. It's tough. Whether you make video games or write about them, consolidation is increasingly common and often brings with it worries about the future has in store. Agreed. So how are we going on games media? Let's see where this goes on. Okay, is it going to be like a monopoly thing here? Shift away in the way we cover games. I've only been writing about video games professionally since 2018, but in that time, I've seen the media landscape undergo a seismic shift. And before I continue on this, chat, let me know how you guys feel out of 10 for video games media. How do you guys personally feel about the state of video game journalism and all that? And if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. I read all of the comments. You all are beautiful. And I want to know, because I love the discussion that we have. Okay, let me read this and I'll go back to your chats. I began my career as a freelancer during a time of expansion for games media. Much of my first work was for sites that don't exist anymore, some of which, like an indie PC site called Old Grizzled Gamers, never heard of it, were founded by enthusiasts who wanted to pay new writers to cover the medium. Others, like Kotaku UK, were extensions of the existing brands. Oh, interesting. Waypoint, a site I followed closely for years, was a Vice vertical, which the larger site spun off to reap the rewards of growing interest in reading thoughtful writing on video games. Okay, so I'll quickly pause and I'll read your chats in a second, which they don't seem positive, I'll be honest. Color me shocked. I'll be honest, here's the thing. YouTube is taking over, specifically in like games news, games journalism, all that stuff. Like, first off, games journalism, there's no news being broken 99% of the time. Am I wrong? Like, what news is being broken? There's no journalism. Number 2, all that's basically happening is people are playing the games and giving you their impressions before it comes out, reviewing the games after it comes out, or they're giving an opinion piece, right? This is not necessarily like journalism. It's just thoughts, written thoughts, essentially all that is. And so when you want written thoughts, okay, essentially who are you going to listen to? A guy off the street yelling a bunch of stuff about video games? Or you're going to listen to your best friend talk about their favorite game or a game that they just found and they loved? You know what I mean? You're going to go to a personality, essentially. And that is why YouTube is blowing up. Because the thing is, YouTube is personality driven. There's a reason people watch, Gamer Ranks. There's a reason people watch This Week in Video Games. There's a reason people watch, Asmongold. Asmon, we love you. Tim the Tap Man. There's a reason people watch these people. I'm going to mess up her name. Alana? I forget her name. She used to work at IGN. Alana. She's always Char Alanazard. I forget your last name. I'm sorry, Alana. We love you. The reason they go to these people is because they want a personality, because a personality has thoughts. Now, I noticed none of you guys said Goose, okay? That's I don't know how many bands I got to give you, but, Alana Pierce, that's it. Perfect. Thank you, Canadian Jacob. Thank you so much, Burstay. Yes, Alana Pierce. And this goes, this out without saying, like the Rooster Teeth guys back in the day, the OGs, like people go to them. A Giant Bomb, I used to listen to their podcast all the time. I was a huge Giant Bomb fan. A lot of these guys, I go to the personality. When you're a huge company like IGN, there's some personality, but overall, the majority of people going to this conglomerate aggregate of a website, there's no personality. So you should not try to have personality, because the person who reviews one game will not review the next game. It's just different people. And when that's what happens is people are now looking at the reviews of like, hey, they gave this game a 10 out of 10 years ago, and now they're giving this game a 6. Well, it's a completely different reviewer, completely different mindset, completely different experiences, completely different viewpoint. So it's like it doesn't even match, which is why personality-based stuff works so hard. And in fact, in movies, there's so many reviewers who are just personality-based. I mean, Chris Stuckman, for instance, James Janney, I think, the guy who's like the red background and the leather coat, right? I don't watch him, but more power to him. All those brands, because personality-driven, and these companies just don't have that. So I'm really curious to see what the article says. But before I do that, let me jump into your responses here. Canadian Jacob, learning Blender. Oh, that's fantastic. Almond milking tycoon. Well, I regret I read that entirely. I'm not going to read Briste's. No. I never seen a nipple on an almond. Y'all are sick. What is happening in the chat? Okay, at least Briste gave 0 out of 10. You guys just went wild. You guys went absolutely wild. We're just going to jump into this. Over time, that media presence has eroded. Big sites like Vice have shuttered their gaming verticals. Not because they weren't profitable. Waypoint, for example, had a passionate, dedicated audience and found success with a membership model, but because shareholders wanted to see constant growth and journalists can't will bigger and bigger games into releasing every single month. When Elden Ring drops in February, how are you supposed to gin up that level of interest for the next 10 months of the year? Many of the independent sites that I was reading and pitching my early years as a freelancer are gone too. I'll tell you what, this is a real question for gaming journalists. It doesn't affect YouTubers and streamers because it's personality driven. When it's just some written author, I can't see you or hear you, I'm not going to feel much personality. And quite honestly, most people aren't even clicking. And if they are clicking, they're probably scrolling right down to the bottom of the page just to see the review. Let's be real. Let's be real. So that's the thing. But this is not a problem. Like Tim Tatman's not having any issues. A lot of YouTubers aren't having these issues. They're coming up with unique perspectives to talk about things. Games journalism are talking about nothing these days, I feel. I mean, real quick. IGN, Take-Two quietly killing Private Division. Okay. I don't know what division I should care about. So, the Rogue Prince of Persia early access review in progress. Why would I read a review in progress? Don't care. Sony State of Play, May 2024, everything announced. That has value. That one's good. But unless I know what Sony State of Play is, I'm not clicking that. You know what I mean? Like, this is stuff YouTubers think about. Like, this is not enough. This is not a good picture. College football 25's gameplay deep dive has arrived. Okay. F1 24 review. Again, people are going to click this. They're going to go this. They're going to do this. Watch this. This is every person ever goes on this. Okay. Like, that's what happens. So let's not pretend. Don't pay a guy to do this. Use their skill set to do something else. It's just, I don't know. I don't get it. There's generally very little money to be made for people covering games. That is so not true. That is so not true. I know Twitch streamers are the 1% of 1%, but there's interest. I mean, look at the guy who does This Week in Games. You know which one I'm talking about? I mean, even Alana Pierce. That channel's raking in a ton of views. She's posting a decent amount. Right? Jeff Gersman has his own YouTube channel now. It's doing good. So that's not true. It's written media they don't care about. I do just fine here at The Gamer, but just about everyone covering the games industry could make twice or 3 times as much by taking a corporate copywriting gig or getting a completely different field together. This is what I'm saying with these game journalists. The market is telling you we don't care about this, and I know that sucks. Okay? But don't cling to it. The market has very much moved to video content or streaming, 1,000%. And Jeff Gerstmann from Giant Bomb was one of the pioneers of that, because back in the day, Jeff Gerstmann, you know, he had his whole kerfuffle with GameSpot. For those of you who don't know, he was fired due to a review. He started Giant Bomb, and he did two things that were pretty huge. Number one, his work on Giant Bomb brought in quick looks, which is essentially just a video look of the game, and they started lowering the amount of written reviews. And I think it went away entirely by the time Jeff left. Okay, so that's number one at Giant Bomb. Number two, Giant Bomb ended up becoming a giant wiki database that other people could pay for that API to use the database. And I even think that database is used on Twitch. When I go to search for a game on Twitch, it comes from, maybe not anymore, but I think back in the day it did. It came from Giant Bomb's API of the wiki. So it's like Jeff already knows, and he's doing YouTube now. And same with the other guys. Each one of these guys, I actually don't know who this person is, but each one of these guys have started their own video thing with their own Patreon. There is money to be made here. It's just like written content, no one reads this way. So I don't know. What's chat? Am I crazy, chat? 0 out of 10. Is Goose crazy? Let me know. Because I feel like I'm relatively sane, but I'm not feeling like what these guys are complaining about is stuff that feels completely obvious to me. Thank you, chat. You guys are beautiful. You guys are beautiful. Hayes Momran says, but IGN is there from the very beginning. They are, but IGN actually makes good video content. That's the thing. IGN, there's no shock to me why IGN isn't the biggest, because IGN has a different video podcast for every platform that is sustainable. GameScoop is incredible. I mean, we played Video Game 20 Questions last week. That came from GameScoop. It was inspired by GameScoop. Big fan of that show. It's like one of the last wholesome podcasts I've listened to. I don't listen to many gaming podcasts these days because everyone's just so complaining. I love Podcasts Unlocked. Ryan McCaffrey is an OG, and I would love to be on Podcasts Unlocked, chat. Tell Ryan McCaffrey on Twitter that Goose is a very stand-up gentleman, and he will be a beautiful Podcast Unlocked guest. I would love to do that. They have all these things. Thank you, Punch Sploder. And, IGN's all over their guides team. Phenomenal job over there. So they have that vertical. They're all over TikTok. They're all over Instagram. They're constantly posting on Instagram and TikTok. All over Twitter. They're getting to a lot of trouble on Twitter, to be honest. Some of their things are a little too clickbait. But they understand the game. They're still doing crazy stuff, like letting people make those giant reviews. But overall, they understand the game. So it's like, I don't really understand the complaint here. For over a decade, there's been a path for going independent. When Jeff Gerstmann left GameSpot to found Giant Bomb, he created a model that persisted to this day. Gerstmann even employed it again when he left Giant Bomb to start the Jeff Gerstmann Show. Which is true. Like, if we go here, hold on. Jeff Gerstmann. This is true. Like, Jeff's got his channel right here. Can I zoom this up? Yeah, there you go. So Jeff Gerstmann Show, 41K subs. The only problem with Jeff's channel is thumbnails. He's not adapting to the YouTube game. And I don't know Jeff, but I've been listening to Jeff for years. And I would just imagine he's just fed up. He doesn't want to play the game, which is respectable. But like at the end of the day, you got to play the thumbnail game. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into thumbnails. And, that's why. That's why he's getting the views he's getting. But he's got a dedicated fan base. I guarantee you that Patreon is popping. So he doesn't need to necessarily play the thumbnail game. So Jeff's kind of figured it out. And he's been figuring it out for a while. But the rest of written media team, like, no offense to this author. What are we doing? Stop complaining. Let's start solving it. You know what I mean? That's, again, there's a big problem in the games industry. There's a lot of complaining, not a lot of solving. So yeah, Kind of Funny, Easy Allies, Min-Max, Remap Radio, and The Aftermath were all formed by writers and personalities who gained an audience as well as well-known sites before striking off on their own and more direct stake in the work and bigger share of profits they generate. Yeah, these guys figured out personality-based content works, and when you have a personality, the audience tends to go towards you. So you don't have to do crazy YouTube stuff like, have crazy thumbnails, have a super tight polished video, because your fans are huge fans of you, so they're going to follow you right through. And when you go on each one of these channels, I would assume, just like Jeff's channel, like the thumbnails are not good, titles are not good, but they don't need to be, because he has they all have fantastic audiences who love those guys and want to continue watching that stuff. And that is the way you handle it. Like, I don't know why this guy's against this. Maybe he's not. I don't know. Maybe that's what he's saying. So Goose should just relax. The role of journalists in this moment. All of this has led to a world where this isn't much about writing about video games anymore. Chat. All of this led to a world where there just isn't as much writing about video games anymore. Chat. Can I go for a tangent? Do I have your permission to go for a tangent? I need this from you, chat. I need full permission. Also, Skiz, thank you so much for the follow. You're a beautiful individual, and we'd love to have you here. You're beautiful, and you're goose-tastic. Okay. You guys are saying, okay. Let me read this again. And I'm going to have the tangent, and quite frankly, I'm done reading the article after that line. Okay? This is by who? Andrew King. It's actually annoyed me. I'll read this one more time. And I'll give you my tangent, and Andrew King, that's it. Segment's done. All this has led to a world where there just isn't as much writing about video games anymore. This actually is really upsetting me. Really upsetting me. The blood's boiling. But I gotta keep it cute, baby. We gotta keep it cute here. Andrew King. That is so incredibly wrong and so incredibly misguided and quite honestly disrespectful to the amount of content creators on YouTube giving it their all, writing these video game essays. Say what you will about the React streamers, but their entire career is by watching most of these essays. What Tim the Tatman just did, his viewpoint had value. But what he reacted to was something I wrote and I scripted and I corrected and went back at it for weeks and crafted. And yeah, it wasn't the best video ever, but it got me to the point where I'm at now with the latest video that I just put out, what happened to the 9th generation gaming. And in that video, that was a long script. And I rewrote it 1,000 times. Then I said it out loud 1,000 times. I corrected it 1,000 more. And I kept going back and back. And then you do the edit on top of that, the video on top of that. All you guys have to do is write an article. That's all you guys have to do, Mr. Andrew King, respectively. For you to say that is so myopic. Like, you're not even considering. Like, if I just open YouTube right now, Jack Sather, perfect example. I'm assuming you guys have seen Jack Sather's videos. If not, fantastic content creator, amazing. I made my first game in Godot in 3 weeks. If you're telling me he didn't go through that and put in a mountain of effort of writing his scripts, making sure they're perfect. I mean, look at Jack's videos. Let's go to most popular. Red Dead Redemption Online is ruined. 22 minutes. A script that fits 22 minutes. Sick of Ubisoft, 28 minutes. Another script, 28 minutes? How long is your script? This. Brother, it takes me like literally, with pauses, it's like literally 2 minutes to read. So you can't sit here and say that. All of this has led to a world where there just isn't as much writing about video games anymore. This is the problem. You guys are lost. You guys are incredibly lost. You're living in 2000. We live in 2024, respectively. Respectively. I'm saying this as nicely as I can because you're just going against the mountain. Like, I'll tell you right now, the reason Red Dead Online is ruined, has 5.2 million views from Jack, is because the man just look at this. Well. Already, look at the camera work. The bokeh. Look at him go. He comes with a set. He comes with lighting. He comes prepared with his own costume, his outfit. He has a script that is written.
My favorite games being...
He's editing it. And the reason I'm not using me is because obviously I'm biased. This is just one creator I open on the front page of YouTube. So you're telling me Andrew King, again, respectively, Andrew, I'm not trying to out you, because I know this is a growing statement in games journalism. All of this has led to a world where there just isn't much writing about video games anymore. Nah, there's a lot of it. And it's on YouTube, it's on Twitch, it's like, it takes a while for me to prepare for Goose Morning Live every week on top of my own YouTube stuff and all my shorts that I make as well. They're all written. All of them. Did I go to journalism school? No. Seems to be working well for me. Like, at the end of the day, you write not to write. You write to give value to people. Real people. And to say something like this is insane. It's literally insane. Honestly, it's a little insulting. If I'm being real. I mean, we'll just go back to YouTube again. I don't know this guy, Game Dad. Obviously, new thing being posted here. I'm getting a lot of React stuff here. Try to find another gamer one. I mean, look, Mr. Who's the Boss. 11 minutes. All of his stuff is written. He has stuff on video game stuff. Been watching lots of Asmon recently. Sorry. Watch lots of Asmon and Lyric. I need to watch more Tim. MKBHD, another one, but of course this isn't video game related. I don't know why I don't have any more. Oh, dude. Remember Crobcat's video? Remember Halo? His stuff. The effort that goes into that stuff. Kyle Bosman. The effort. The Rockstar Games Iceberg Explained, 361. I guarantee you that's just this world where these journalists think that we just sit here and we go, action. No. It is all written. All of your Nakey Jakey, huge creator, scripted. It's all scripted. It's insane. So yeah, chat, I'm sorry. Did I go too far, chat? Am I crazy? Was I pushing buttons? Mr. Andrew King? I apologize if I came off hostile. But effectively, you just called us all like, you just kind of said we weren't good enough. And quite frankly, we put in way more work because I'll be honest, scripting, camera work, sound design, video editing, marketing, graphic design, community management, social media, multi-platform, short-form content. It's 20 jobs in one. And you're going to say all of this has led to a world where there isn't much writing about video games. Camera guy, give us one. Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. Now, I will say, there are some people who do incredible work in the journalism space. I would say it is migrated heavily towards YouTubers, like heavily. But there are some, like I mentioned Ryan McCaffrey. He has an Unfiltered podcast. It's incredible. I really think he does a great job there. I love his stuff. I mean, Destin's on Destin, who's also another member of the Podcast Unlocked. He also has his YouTube channel. It's all news-based stuff. You know, plenty of work. I just find that insane that someone would even say that. That's insane. I've cooked, chat. I've cooked. My goodness. Someone hold me back. Hold me back, chat. Hold me back. Jeez. Losing it. All right, chat.